all's right with the world. The New York Yankees are back in the playoffs.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as always, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. There he is. Brian, was Aaron Boone trying to lose this game?
He tried really hard to. This game was a microcosm of what you always say. They will never win a title with this manager.
Mm-hmm. Before we get started with another live show after a West Coast game, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. On today's show, we'll preview the finale between the Yankees and Mariners, which is later today at 4:10 p.m. Quick turnaround for all of us. In the middle section of the show, there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, and I'm just going to tease it that way. You don't need to know. We want you to stay. We want you to stick around because it's good stuff, bad stuff, and in the middle stuff. But first, let's talk about it. The Yankees punched their ticket to the playoffs. Hallelujah.
Yeah, right. What a trial and tribulated base season, right? You start the year off 41-21, one of the hottest teams in the sport. You have one of the most miserable month-and-a-half long stretches you could possibly imagine for a team. And then now they've played really good baseball over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Really since the Cubs series, they've played unbelievable baseball. Get themselves into the postseason. The Orioles lost another game. So it just seems like they're spiraling at the right time. Mm-hmm. There will be 2 teams in the American League in the postseason this year that have 90 wins. 2. Guaranteed. Yankees and the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros, they're a bugaboo that seem that they can't seem to ever stop in the postseason. Who lost again today, who might not even get to 90 wins, by the way, or a couple wins away at this point. That team played the Chicago White Sox 13 times and is nowhere near as good as they used to be. If there's a year they go to the World Series, this has to be the year. And I don't want to sit here saying that. I don't want to sit here making proclamations. If there's a year you win a pennant in this stretch, this has to be the year. And I think, from what I said, this game is a microcosm of what you always tell us, and it's the truth. Aaron Boone will do everything manageable to try and outmanage his way out of a World Series. Because we'll talk about it. We can talk about it now, actually. You win the game, well-played game. This game was an unbelievable display to me of how good Austin Wells has become behind the plate. His bat's been incredible this year and improved, but one thing that people said a lot about him coming into the year was, the glove's not great. The fielding is not wonderful out of him. And if you're a baseball nerd, that play in the 10th inning is an unbelievably satisfying baseball nerd kind of play. It just is to have that level of awareness and that level of realization, and to pick off a player like J-Rod there, who is one of the top young players in all of baseball. Unbelievably understated, amazing play to happen there. However, you took the man out of the closing role, out of the main closing role earlier this month. Basically told him he was not the closer anymore. He was not going to be pitching in important spots anymore. And you decide in a 1-run game, when he has given up a run in essentially every single outing he's been out there for over the last month, that he's going to come in a 1-run game and try to get you the hold. Happy with the win. Glad they're celebrating. Glad it's a playoff spot clinched. I don't think it means much until you win the division, but it's a stepping stone. Can you make it make sense, please? Why Clay Holmes was pitching in that spot?
No.
Because there's no scenario that I can grasp where he has earned or deserved that spot in a 1-run game in, up until this point, the most important game of the season, because it was the game that you can clinch the postseason. And I know it was a fait accompli. They were going to clinch this game anyway. They were going to clinch the postseason anyway. But once this game gets down to the wire and you're up 1-0, and that's in reach, clinching the postseason, why aren't you going for it? And to pitch Clay Holmes there, I'm sorry, I can't come up with a reason or an explanation. He'll give you some stupid response that he liked what Clay Holmes, the lane he had. Stacey, I can't make it make sense. And like you've said, they clinched a playoff spot. This is the happiest, most successful day of the Yankees season so far. And Boone tried everything in his power to lose this game.
Well, why was he there a second inning? He got through that first inning that he pitched. So, okay, good job. Nice. We'll bring Luke Weaver in.
You can't.
And can we talk about Luke Weaver? I mean,
unbelievable.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible what he's done. It seems like he has so much confidence too when he goes out there, you know? It's crazy to think. Here we are, September 19th, and we're all clamoring for Luke Weaver to be the closer. Yeah.
It's an incredible feeling. It's incredible how we've gotten here. But I don't want to be the guy that comes in here and poo-poos on the fact that they clinched the playoff berth. It's great. It's wonderful. This cannot be, I love that they're celebrating right now. To me, the celebration, I don't want to be the old man in the room, a little much.
No.
This has been since 2017 that they've been on this run. And I get it. You clinch I don't need you celebrating when you're supposed to make the playoffs. The Yankees, this team has a $330 million payroll. And then you had those comments earlier from Boone where we're going to celebrate clinching. We're going to celebrate the division. We're going to the goal should be so much higher than making the postseason at this point. It really should.
Well, it isn't a goal. This is just the step. It's the first step. So they're just celebrating every step.
We're having a champagne party.
I'm nearly double your age, and I'm fine with them celebrating. Celebrate all you want. Just don't put any champagne in your eyes. Just be careful. I think it's
ridiculous. Yankees are a lock to lose tomorrow because they're all going to be banged up going to the game and everything like that.
Right, and it's an early game. It's an early game. Yeah, they'll be hungover, and let's just quickly talk about the game. So Cortez. Maybe they should have moved him to the bullpen earlier because this really seemed to anger him to the point where he's just been pitching with a chip on his shoulder.
Yes. And he'll be in the bullpen too in the postseason too. That's the funny part.
Right. I mean, who knew? Rizzo with the big double in the 10th. Very cool for him. He's picking it up a little bit in these last few games. So
does it not feel like Rizzo's going to have a big playoff moment?
I feel like he might. He might.
It has that sense to it where there's going to be a big hit that he has. That was an experienced at bat right there. That was a veteran, unbelievable big moment at bat. It wasn't trying to do too much in that spot. Ball to bat in that spot, down the line, put it where he knew he could, drove the run in. Yeah, unbelievably important at bat for them. Rizzo's been really, really solid since he's been back, and
his defense as well.
Yeah,
the scoops.
Compared to what they had there too.
Yeah, there were a lot of good plays made. The one botch play by Dominguez, I don't know what happened if he lost the ball in the sky. But the way Turner was reacting, I thought he hit that ball 500 feet. And when I saw it drop, I was like, what? And everyone had that same reaction. The defense was actually, the Yankees made really good plays other than that one. Like we said, Holmes, why for a second inning? Why were you doing that to him? Weaver should have come in. Nice job by Hamilton. As you said, nice job by Wells. Heads up by Wells. And also, what the hell is going on with the Mariners and their base runners? That's the second time in 2 nights where they've made really brain dead. Well, I mean, he was trying to get away from a bat, but heads up by Austin Wells.
That's the thing. I didn't think the play was that brain dead when it happened because it looked like he was trying to get out of the way of that bat. But if you watch the replay, J-Rod is very casually walking back to third base after he avoids the bat. So I don't know if it was unawareness. I personally, watching it on live, I thought it was a foul ball. That's how I reacted. But then, I mean, if you're on the field, that's not a foul ball, obviously. But regardless of all of it, unbelievably, incredibly heads-up play by Wells. And unbelievably, I mean, to get the runner at third out there, I mean, you cannot understate how big of a play that is.
Right. Like, really, because we know
it
the
ended
Yankees.
The game.
Yeah, like we know how the Yankees are in extra innings, but 2 extra inning wins in a row now.
They've been
right?
Great lately.
So, and maybe they were right about the whole "we're going to pick it up" thing, because they have, and right at the right time, they're picking it up. Baltimore's falling apart, and you know, it might be to where they meet in that series a week from now, and it's not going to mean anything.
Completely agree.
Which is crazy to think about because of how they've played, both teams, for the past 3 months, and one team not pulling ahead, the other one not pulling ahead. This is the biggest.
There was only one period in time.
There
was only one period in time where the Orioles actually technically took a lead on the Yankees, if you remember.
Yeah.
The entire time it's gotten down to 1 game, a half a game. The Orioles they only took a lead once in the divisional race. That's, you know, worth noting too, because it's felt like it's been back and forth. It really hasn't been back and forth all year. The Yankees have pretty much been in the lead.
Meaning like, you know, Yankees lose, Orioles win, Yankees win, Orioles lose, kind of like no one could really like get too far ahead.
Yes,
and,
but through this entire stretch, there was not a point when the Orioles actually technically went ahead of the Yankees. There was one day where the Orioles went ahead of the Yankees in the standings by 1 game. That was it. So
they posted it on their Twitter account.
Yeah. So for all that we've seen, and all the drama and all the complaining and stuff, they have gone behind the Orioles for 1 whole day, and that was it. And now you're going to go into this series. It's a 5-game lead, which I'm sorry, a week ago, a 5-game lead. If you told me they'd have that, I'd say you're crazy.
Right. Because as we said, Detroit gave them trouble. You think the Giants wouldn't, because the Giants aren't really playing for anything. Detroit is 1.5 out of a spot now, so they're really right in there. Yeah,
they might get in. I mean, especially with how the lack of urgency that Minnesota seems to be playing with. They lost again today to the Guardians.
Right.
Detroit might actually get in. Which, by the way, I mean, I know you don't want to give him credit, and we don't want to give him credit, and that's totally fine. But a little bit of credit's got to be given to AJ Hinch. A little bit. To be taking over that team and have a 100-loss season and be terrible with the White Sox, with the Tigers, and really, I don't think anyone in their right mind expected them to go to the postseason this year. The Tigers, and they're not clinched yet. But Stacey, I mean, even if they don't get in at this point, what an unbelievable turnaround of the month of September that the Tigers have had. They were 6 games out earlier this month, and they're right back in the mix now.
Yeah. All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you would like your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. I will be alone for tomorrow's episode, so ask me whatever you want. Just be nice.
Whatever.
Yeah. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, reactions to the games, anything you want. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, we're going to talk about a bunch of things. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Anthony Volpe. It's going to be interesting. Okay, so for most of us who like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Luka card, Ellie De La Cruz, or a Mahomes rookie card isn't in the cards. And if you love collecting, you know that that is some serious cash to drop. But thanks to slab picks from arenaclub.com, it's now possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Now, every card that I just mentioned was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. It's the only repack that provides real value and a complete view of all the possible cards and clear rates for each one. So you go to the website, they're all there and you can see them. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, it's fast and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided and an explanation of how your card was scored. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arena.com/lockedonmlb and use code LockedOnMLB. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb, code LockedOnMLB for 10% off your first purchase. And don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So I thought for segment 2, we could talk about good things, bad things, random things. Judge and Soto, we have to talk about this because they're the first pair of teammates to hit 40 or more home runs and each draw 120 or more walks.
That's what's absurd.
It's absurd. And Soto added to that on Wednesday night in Seattle. He's unbelievable. Judge is unbelievable. The game itself, great pitching on both sides, really, So I don't want people to get mad at certain people not hitting well, because we warned you guys when this series was coming up that Seattle had 3 good starters lined up for the Yankees. They had trouble with Brian Wu in previous outings, and they just had their fun with him on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday night, they ran into a bit of a wall, and it happens. But Judge and Soto overall, my God, they're just so much fun to watch. And I really don't want the Yankees to screw this up. I want them to get this done. I know people were freaking out about Soto's comment about hitting home runs in all 30 ballparks. And he was talking about free agency. And he said he knows what he's doing. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't love that it's on his mind, free agency. I don't like, especially at this time. I want him to be totally focused on the playoffs, totally focused on the Yankees, and knowing free agency is coming, whether he's great or horrible in the postseason. So I want him to be focused on the playoffs, because you can't have him worry about free agency in a big playoff game. And but I do have confidence that throughout his career, he's had big playoff runs. He was amazing in that Nationals postseason run. He was one of the reasons they won the World Series.
And he was really young during that postseason run.
Exactly. So it doesn't seem like the pressure very much affects him. By the way, if I can mention, just because it was a part of this series, at one point in time in the national system, they had Victor Robles, Bryce Harper, and Juan Soto on that team, which is absurd to think about. All 3 guys, by the way, on rookie deals. All 3 of those guys not getting paid. They lost Bryce Harper in free agency. They had to trade Juan Soto, and they actually DFA'd Victor Robles, and that's how he went up on the Seattle Mariners, which is insane to think about. One of the top prospects in all of baseball. Just to throw that in there. But do they need to get Soto back? Absolutely. That's unfortunately going to be a conversation that we're going to have probably months and months, probably over weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks until there's a decision made.
We're going to rename the show Locked On Juan Soto.
Yeah.
In the offseason, just so you're warned.
I just hope his mind isn't too locked on free agency.
I don't think it is. I think it was like a casual statement, because he was like really like, he doesn't seem stressed ever. So I don't think it's something that's weighing on his mind. He just happened to say it. I'm not worried about that. I think he's not feeling I don't think he's feeling any kind of pressure, honestly.
No, he hasn't very been there, done that kind of attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, he's still so young and he has so much more to go. He hasn't even hit his prime yet, which is frightening to think. Now, let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum. We have to talk about Anthony Volpe. And I feel bad because I really wanted him to do well. And he started off the year doing really well. And then he fell off a cliff. And now he's one of the worst offensive players in all of baseball. Like, people keep putting up lists where he's like 4th out of 193, qualified batters. And it's just, it's bad. It's bad. Tonight, he, after having his mental night off to kind of recalibrate and think about things, he hit into a double play, that first at bat, which strikes out twice. And again, he was pitching. He was facing a tough pitcher, but that pop-up bunt in the 10th, there's no excuse for that.
No.
You're a guy that we don't expect to hit with power. It's nice that you did in your rookie year, but we don't need you to do that. We just need you to hit. And you can't have a bunt like that. You of all people need to learn how to bunt. We don't expect Aaron Judge to bunt. You don't expect someone like Anthony Rizzo to bunt, but Anthony Volpe should know how to bunt.
It's a testament on all young baseball players now because they just don't teach these guys to bunt. They don't, which is kind of a whole overall really bad thing what's going on in baseball now. But I'd agree with you completely, especially in that spot when you haven't hit in the last, 2 months now? I mean, when you haven't hit at all, I mean, you got to be able to get, if you're going to do something at the plate, you got to get the bunt down there. And Lou, if I can go to the comments real quick, because it's true. Soto bunts when there's a runner, when there's a giant shift going on and he has a free base available to himself. Soto does not bunt when that's not part of the when in that situation.
Right.
But regardless, you need to get something done there. You need to be able to get the bunt down there. At least do something to help your team out there. Popping up the bunt there is so ridiculous and so can't happen. He's been terrible. And I think they tried yesterday with giving him a day off. They really did. Kind of try to reset his mind, get him back involved. Clearly didn't work. He's in his own head at the plate right now, and you need to try and fix that in the next week.
Right. I just saw. This is the problem. He can defend, which is good because, a lot of times you see sometimes when guys are struggling at the plate, it affects them all around. And right now that's not happening with him. It's really an offensive problem, not a defense problem. Thank goodness.
It is offensive.
But yeah, it's offensive watching Anthony Volpe play right now. I'm just disappointed. I expected more from him. Could be a sophomore slump. Maybe he picks it up a little bit in his third season, but I just want someone to pull him aside and say, you don't have to swing for the fences, because a lot of times it looks like that's what he's trying to do when he's swinging at things constantly and just instead of figuring out pitches too, like he just is.
You don't got to do too much.
Lost.
You don't got to do too much, and he's trying to do that there.
Yep, he's doing too much. He's trying to do too much, and it's just affecting his game in the most awful ways. And they need to work on that with him, because having Anthony Volpe hit the ball, whether it's at the top of the lineup or even the bottom of the lineup, put him where he's ninth, and then you have Gleyber come up because Gleyber is hitting in the top spot. And just get him to hit singles. You don't need to hit home runs, just hit singles. I said it at the beginning of the season, and he was doing that. And he looked great. And he was selective at the plate, too. He wasn't swinging for the fences. He wasn't swinging out of his shoes and not going down on 3 strikes in a row. And just, he has to get back to that. And he showed that he could do that. He just needs to get back to the way he was in the beginning of the season. I don't know how, but he needs to.
Speaking of which, a guy who didn't have a hit today, but has been hitting nonstop over the last month, Gleyber Torres. And no one's going to clap for the guy, and he deserves it, though. He has completely turned his season around with how bad he was playing for a large majority of the year. He has completely turned his season around. Gleyber Torres deserves some major props with how he's played. Look at his numbers now. He's hitting 260, like 15 homers, 60 RBIs. He's completely turned his year around.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely respectable. I mean, considering how bad he was.
Oh dear. He's
bad.
He's had really good leadoff hitter numbers.
Right.
Really good leadoff hitter numbers.
Yeah, that move really helped him a lot, and he's taken advantage of it. And it just feels like Volpe couldn't take advantage of it once he lost everything, because he was doing fine, and then he just suddenly.
And also, when's the last major defensive mishap that Volpe's had, that Gleyber's had too?
Right.
Gleyber is one of those guys who lets his poor play at the plate affect his fielding.
Yeah.
But while he's been hitting, defensive problems have not been there either.
Right. Okay, coming up next, we will preview the finale in Seattle, and maybe we'll look at some more comments, because we have a bunch of people in here. All these people who stayed up. It's nearly 1:30 a.m. as we record this, and you're all here. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. We'll see you in a second.
What's up, guys? You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. We have something a little bit different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube or YouTube TV. And then with the YouTube TV-based plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday out-of-market afternoon game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Guys, we're in the middle of football season. I can't believe it's back already, and we're already into week 3. Jets play the Patriots in a big Thursday night game later on tonight. That's huge. Yankees going into the postseason. You can get your baseball futures bets in. There is so much to do on FanDuel.com and so many opportunities to take advantage and make some money with playoff baseball. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. And welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey, last segment here. A 4-10 start for the Yankees, which is a 1-10 start in Seattle. Might not be a good situation they're walking into. Might be giving the Mariners a win there. They're going to be pretty hungover. If you've seen Jazz Chisholm went live on Instagram, showing people what the Yankees are doing right now, and they're doing. They're drinking. They're having a time. So
yeah.
I think you'll have Aaron Boone's very good at this, thankfully. So he'll be very good at putting out a punt it lineup tomorrow. So he'll put out.
Was it 2 years ago? Was it 2 seasons ago where we thought they were going to have the hangover game after they clinched whatever they clinched?
They won like 13-1 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So you never know.
But regardless, Boone is very good at putting out a punt lineup of losing a game. So he'll be able to do one of those. I'm assuming Judge and Soto will get the day off tomorrow. Well, I don't know. Soto might not want the day off because he wants to play every single day.
Yeah.
You'll get Clark Schmidt, who's 5-3 with a 2.41. He'll go against Logan Gilbert, who's 7-11 with a 3.24. You'll still get a full effort at Seattle because they're going to need the win really badly. And I want to mention this because it's deserved with the standings. We mentioned it before. Detroit is now a half game back of Minnesota.
Wow.
A half game back because Minnesota refuses to win games, and Detroit seems to win every single night.
Yeah.
And now Detroit goes into a weekend series against Baltimore, who they've owned over the last month. So you're in a really, really interesting spot here. By the way, Baltimore 84-68, Detroit 80-73. If they somehow sweep Baltimore, they're a game back of the Orioles. So crazy to think about. You got to think Kansas City's going to get in at 82-71, but who knows what's going to happen with Minnesota, Detroit, and Seattle? They're all within 3 games of each other, really coming down to the wire in the AL.
I have a stat because I remembered this from earlier and I just wanted to pull it up on my phone. The Tigers were 55-63 at the end of play on August 10th. They are now, so they're now 80-73, a half game back of a playoff spot. The only MLB team to ever make the playoffs in a non-shortened season after being 8+ games under 500 in August or later, the Mets in 1973.
Wow. And they went to the World Series that year. That's unbelievable a stat. And Detroit could easily get in again, but we don't want to give him a lot of credit because of his past, but AJ Hinch has done an unbelievable managerial job in Detroit. You really can't understand it, especially with Javi Baez in the middle of that lineup hitting .060 every year. Incredible how good they've been. Yeah.
He's man, sometimes when you watch Baez play and someone throws a slider outside and he tries to swing at it, and you couldn't even hit that pitch with like 3 bats.
No, yeah, it's bad.
Connected to it, and he just swings. It's unbelievable.
But having the American League Cy Young winner is a major key to being that successful, especially since it seems like him being involved in trade rumors really lit a fire under Jake Skubal because he's been incredible since.
Yeah. That and being put in the bullpen kind of fires people up.
Yeah, it does, clearly.
So, hopefully the Yankees can do something against Logan Gilbert. He's another, 3.24. Yeah. We say it all the time. No, he's 7-11. That just means the team did not support him in those 11 losses because a 3.24 ERA is pretty darn good, especially in this era of baseball. We have some sad news in case you didn't hear it. Hudson Valley lost the South Atlantic Championship Series. They dropped game 3, 4-1 to was it Bowling Green or was it? Yeah, Bowling Green. After winning game 2 in exciting fashion. Game 2, they were tied 2-2. Hudson Valley hits a grand slam to make it 6-2. They win the game. So this is the second straight year that Hudson Valley comes up just short of the title. And the second straight year they fell in the championship series. It was a record-breaking season for them, though. They won 73 regular season games. They set a franchise record. They finished the regular season with a 47-19 record at home, the best in minor league baseball, ironically losing the final game at home in the championship series, but a good season all around for Hudson Valley. And it's not easy being Hudson Valley because that's a team that has a lot of turnover because of the level that they're at, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So kudos to them for making it to the championship. It's a bummer that they dropped the championship series 2 years in a row, but that just shows how good the players are. So good for them to make it, but sad that they lost.
Absolutely. But there's bigger fish to fry in Yankee land.
Yeah. So let's see if there are any. Wow. Okay. I didn't realize this. The Orioles are 3-9 in their last 12. The Yankees. Well, I knew the Yankees were doing well in their last 12, but the Orioles
worst time possible to hit a slump.
And earlier on Wednesday afternoon, they DFA'd Craig Kimbrell, which is unbelievable.
He's been that bad.
He's been so bad. And he started the year off really, really well. And, that whole falling off a cliff.
He was their big free agent signing.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, it's incredible how bad he's been.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true too, Lou. And I mentioned this on the show the other day. Like a bunch of guys got hurt in the pitching staff. The guys who are there now, starter wise, have stepped up a bit, but their bullpen
in their rotation though. But in their bullpen, they haven't had as many injuries. And
But I mean, their starters. That's where the injuries are. But their bullpen has just been
agreed. But their bullpen's been on, and their bullpen's not bad. It's just
it's not supposed to be
underwhelming.
Bad,
it's underwhelming how bad they've been, but overall, their bullpen's not full of guys who are bad. They've been underwhelming and horrible this year.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. Oh, all right. Tomorrow's Fan Mail Friday. Like I said earlier in the show, it'll be me by myself. So ask me what you want, what you really, really want. Sorry, it's 1:30 in the morning and I'm very delirious. But yeah, anything you want to ask me, as long as it's polite. I got a very rude message this morning on Facebook from a listener. I'm not going to say what he said, but don't send me anything rude. Try to be nice.
Yes.
Actually, that's why he sent me the message. He says I laugh too much on the show. Look, it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm delirious right now. Okay.
Yeah. We deserve to laugh.
And it's better than me being mad all the time. Right?
I guess so. I'd rather laugh than be angry. So
yeah. Anyway, get those questions in for Fan Mail Friday. Leave them below on YouTube, or if you're an insider, get them in. I'll give you a 6 p.m. deadline on Thursday to get those questions in. All right, one more time. You can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees on SXM. See, I haven't done that in months, and I screwed it up because I'm tired. Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. Actually, his Wednesday episode, he talked about the Yankees and how red hot they were. So listen to Wednesday's episode if you want to, and listen to what he thinks about the Yankees. He's a Red Sox fan, so he doesn't like talking nicely about the Yankees. He's being tortured right now. The link to Locked On MLB is in the description, so you don't need to search. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And make sure you check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel. You get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. Thank you for joining us again for a live show. Friday show will not be live because it's not a late show. Thank goodness. And this is the last West Coast game, probably, unless the Yankees play the Dodgers in the World Series, right? I guess that's
no. Well, but those won't be late games because they play those games at 8 p.m. So
that's true.
We're in the
Thank
clear.
goodness. And hopefully it won't be, let's not think about that Dodgers Red Sox game that went 18 innings in 2018, right?
I stayed up for the whole thing.
I did too. I had to write the recap for Baseball Prospectus, and I handed it in at, was it 5:59 a.m. Eastern?
Yeah, the game went into the 3 a.m. hour.
Yeah. Yep. I handed it in right before 6 a.m. and passed out. So, yeah. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. Thank you again, all of you, for joining us. 83 people right now. It's 1:38 a.m. Eastern, and there are
We love the
80
support.
people in here. It's great. So that'll do it again for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, we will. I got to put the end screen up. Hold on one second.